crops. How crops are classified based on what and what and what should be classified to us. There are some crops that belong to a particular family, so you group them as one. There are some crops that can do one thing and do the other thing. Like when we'll be explaining, you notice that there are some crops that are based on one classification, and also they are also a part of another classification. That means they work in two capacities. So first of all, let's see what is the meaning of crop. Crops are plants which are grown by man for a definite purpose. That is for a particular purpose. Crops are plants grown by man for a particular purpose or for a definite purpose. That means if man grows cassava, he has a reason for growing the cassava. He has a purpose for growing the cassava. So nobody will go and plant something when he does not have a purpose for that. He has what he wants, or there is something he wants to gain by planting those crops. So crop, or you call them plants, are those crops or those plants that will grow on the farm by man or by the farmers for a definite purpose, a particular purpose. Then these crops, all the crops that we have, ranging from cassava to yam to cocoyam to potatoes, all those crops that you can think of that you see farmers planting. Thank God we are about to enter into the planting season. A lot of farmers have finished clearing their farmlands, waiting for the first rain to drop so that they can start planting. You see them planting a lot of crops on their farms. Now, all these crops belongs to families. That is where it takes us to classification of crops. We are going to look at how all these crops that farmers plant, how they are classified. First, we have crops are classified into many ways. The four basic ways we are going to look at is based on their economic and practical use. There are some crops that are grouped based on the use, what you use them for. For example, crops like pepper. There is another crop that might serve the same purpose like pepper, so you group them together. That means they belong to one family. Then we have based on their lifespan. There are some crops that live only 6 months. Some live only 1 year. That is between the period of 1 year. Like maize. If somebody plants maize, let's say March, April, May, June, probably July, you will not see maize again. So they have their own lifespan. So when we say lifespan, crops that have 1 year lifespan, before you can cultivate, then you uproot them off and think of planting them the next season. Crops that have 2 years lifespan and crops that have 3 years and above lifespan. Those one we classify them as trees, like all these mango trees, pear trees. Those one can have 3 years and above. Then based on their morphology, there are crops based on their morphology. Some we call them monocotyledon, that is with one seed, while some are called dicotyledon with many seeds. So we'll be looking at that as we proceed into the tale. Then based on their geographical distribution, there are crops that you don't see in the northern part of Nigeria, but you find them in the south. There are also crops that you see in the southern part, but you don't find them in the north. So they are dispersed based on what? Geographical distribution. There are crops that like harsh weather. There are crops that like cold weather. There are crops that are used to rainy season. There are crops that like plenty water. So those ones you see them planted in the southern part where you normally have more rainfall than in the northern part. For example, this watermelon that people sell around, have you seen anyone planting it in the southern part?
No.
They always bring it. That means that crop does not adapt to the geographical part of the southern. It is in special condition. It should be in special condition.
No. This again.
That's what I'm saying. The person planting it will have a special condition for the crop to grow well. It is not like the regular cassava that anybody can plant anyhow. If the person wants to plant it, that means he has studied the pattern of that crop, knows what that crop needs. So he's going to provide the basic things that the crop needs to grow in that.
Let me say, and the man does not go to school or know how to do that already.
But maybe he knows things about that plant. He knows the condition of growth of that plant. He will know, because you don't just plant any crop like that without studying and knowing the particular condition that that crop needs. That is why you don't see it grown here rampantly. You don't hear it is on special condition. But if you go there People plant it as if it is normal food because it adapts to the weather conditions of that side. So when we get to that particular classification of crops, we will explain more. But for today, we are picking the first one. Crops based on their economic and practical use. Crops that are grouped based on their practical use or economic use. The first group are the ones we call cereals, also cereals.
Cereals.
These are plants of the grass family. These ones, the plant look like grass. All of us, we know how grass look like. They are very short. They have leaves like grass. So that's why we classify them as the grass family. They are plants of the grass family that produce seeds useful to man. These plants have seeds. They grow, they are like grasses because of how their leaves look like. So we classify them under the grass family. But they produce seeds, and these seeds are useful to man. For example, we have rice, we have corn. If you look at the plants of rice, that is rice plant, you see that it has almost the same leaf like that of corn or maize. They grow the same way. Then millet, oats, wheat, sorghum, all of them are of the same family. All of them have almost the same pattern of leaves. So we call them the grass family. So when you look at them, all of them have almost the same characteristics. They seem to give one particular thing, which is what? Carbohydrates. We have rice providing us with carbohydrate. Corn or maize gives us carbohydrate, starch. We have wheat, we have millet, oats, and sorghum. All of them. Sorghum is mostly used to produce beer. You know, beer, they use cereals to produce beer. The breweries company, they use cereals so that they ferment it. Then they now use it to produce the beer that people drink. So these ones are called cereals. They are classified under the cereals family, the grass family. The next group of crop based on the economic and the practical use is the legumes, also legumes.
Legumes.
These are plants of the pea family. These ones, their seeds are a little bit bigger than that of the grass family. The grass family, their seeds are long, they are bigger, and they provide starch and carbohydrate. But this one is pea family. They mostly provide us with what? Protein. They include vegetables and herbs like soya bean. All of us, we've seen soya bean seed before now.
Yes.
And then the normal beans that we eat. Then groundnut and peas. Peas is this one that you see them sell on the road that also tastes like groundnut. It's not groundnut seed. Tiger nut. That one is what we call peas. So soya bean, beans, groundnut, peas. They are classified under the legume family. They are mostly targeted at providing us with what? Protein. Then we have the next group, which we call the vegetables. Also vegetables. These are plants that have edible parts. That means the part of that plant, either the leaves, either the stem, or the fruits can be edible. As edible means you can eat it sometimes raw. You can eat it raw. So vegetables are plants that have edible parts. It is not like this other one that you need to process it. Sometimes you go to the extent of cooking it before you can eat. These ones, you can even eat it fresh as it is. Whether it is the leaf part, whether it is the stem, whether it is the fruit, it can be eaten. You can prepare some, as you prepare, you cook it. Well, some can be eaten. Some can be squeezed, like the normal pumpkin leaf. You can squeeze it and drink the water fresh. So those ones, we classify them as what? Vegetables. So they are usually eaten fresh and green, and they supply proteins, vitamins, and minerals to the body. Examples of these vegetables include carrot. Carrot is classified as a vegetable. Cucumber is classified as a vegetable. Garden egg is classified as vegetable. Tomato is classified as vegetable. Okra, bitter leaf, pepper, onions, water leaf, and the other leaves that we normally use to prepare our soup. They are classified as what? Vegetables. You notice that some of them are eaten raw. Some of them can also be cooked and eaten as food. But they are classified as vegetables. They provide us with vitamins in our body, to our bodies. They provide minerals and they provide proteins. The next group is the roots and tuber crop. When we talk about roots, all of us know that the root of a plant goes into the ground, isn't it? Yes. So this means that this particular set of crops are the ones that have what you get from them is underground. It goes into the ground, unlike the rest that you can pluck from the leaf and or the stem or the fruits. But this one goes deep, so we call it root or tuber crops. These are crops with enlarged underground stems or roots, which contain starch. Underground stem, that means their stem goes under the ground. Now under the ground, the stem now begin to do what? Enlarge. That particular part that is enlarging contains what? Starch. Let's say for example, cassava plant. This is a cassava plant growing, and this is the ground level. Now when the cassava plant grows deep into the ground, it begins to remove what? Roots. Now the roots goes into the ground. At the point in time, you notice that the root, one root begins to do what? Enlarge, which forms the tuber. Now that tuber there contains what? Starch. That's why it's called the underground stems. Roots of enlarged underground stems. That their roots or their stem begins to do what? Enlarge under the ground. And that enlarged portion contains what? Starch. Examples of such crops are yam, cocoyam, sweet potato, cassava, and carrot. Carrot is another part because carrot they dig it underground. So earlier I told you that some crops are classified under this one, and also you see them as under another classification. Here we saw carrot as a vegetable, and here it is also what? A tuber crop, because you dig it under. But as you are digging it under, you can wash it and eat it what? Fresh. So it comes under what? Vegetables also. Are we together?
Yes.
Okay, let's continue. Number 5, we have another group which we call the fruits and nuts. Fruits are important sources of carbohydrate and vitamins. They are mostly eaten fresh, just like the vegetables. But these ones are called fruits because most of them are not green. Like this one, they say fresh and green. So most of them here are classified as vegetables. So these ones are mostly eaten fresh, just like the vegetables. They provide us with vitamins in our bodies. Examples are, we have guava, we have mango, we have orange, pear, whether our normal pear, the normal local pear, or the avocado pear. Then we have cocoa and pineapples that are classified as fruits. Alright, we continue. The beverage and beverage crops. All of these are still under what? Their economic use. You know, all the explanations are based on how you use them. The explanation is based on how you use them. So beverage crops, these ones are mainly crops that grows into trees. They are plants that you plant, but as they grow into what? Trees. And they are used for manufacturing food, drinks, and beverages. You can use either their leaves or their stem to manufacture into what? Food drinks. For example, cocoa. A cocoa tree. We use the seed of cocoa to produce what? Bonvita. We use it to provide Ovaltine, Milo, so that classified as beverage crops. The coffee tree and tea tree is the one we normally use. You know coffee now. Coffee is different from the normal cocoa. And then tea is the one we use to produce our Lipton tea, green tea. All of them are plants. So this one, the tea and the coffee, we use their leaves to produce the beverage, which people use as their breakfast in the morning. Then the next set of crops, classification of crops based on their economic use, is the oil crops.